At Chris Kehler Holistic, we demonstrate real healing and real caring to your health issues and needs. Our solution for you is an alternative to the alternative. Our out-of-the-box treatment methods are aimed to your specific well-being and are quite different than most. Venturing down the realm of quantum energy healing, Chris uses unique modalities of healing, such as spiritual intervention with pendulum dowsing, sacred geometry tools such as the neutralization, divinity, and sun ring. Another tool Chris uses is a 5-tiered pyramid affectionately known as the Silver Light Pyramid to activate quantum activity within the body. Also, Chris Kehler Holistic uses radionic technologies in various platforms with specific liquid mineral ionics to balance out excesses and deficiencies within the body. At Chris Kehler Holistic, our goal is to get tangible and measurable results in the least amount of time possible so you can carry on with what's important in your life. Another advantage to this unique energy healing is it can be done at a distance healing session. So location is not a barrier and can be done conveniently at your home, office, just about anywhere through Skype or telephone conferencing. Eliminate costly protocols, expensive monthly supplements, high-priced allopathic operations, invasive surgeries, and dubious medication applications that keep you trapped in a financial and health rat race. Get a specific, customized, out-of-the-box solution tailored for your health recovery. At Chris Kehler Holistic, we are warm welcoming and want to put you at ease with your visit to us. Please visit www.chriskehler.net for further information as we welcome your questions and inquiries to starting this unique journey. At Chris Kehler Holistic, we want to show you that we are the alternative to the alternative and the out-of-the-box solution to customize an answer for you to spend less and gain more in your high vibrancy journey. Visit www.chriskehler.net. Real healing and real caring to your health needs.
Let me introduce to you, to the world, Chris Kehler.
I am your host for tonight, Chris Kehler, coming to you live from sunny, wonderful Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, where we finally got into the upper temperatures, not below zero anymore.
We have a gentleman, by the way, in the chat box from Hamburg, Germany.
Very nice.
Yes, they are definitely here to listen to you guys.
Welcome in from Winnipeg.
Yeah, so you got to change up a little.
So I got quite a few clients in Germany, actually. Frankfurt, Berlin.
There you go.
Yeah, we're all welcome now, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
We do have a guest tonight on. We're going to be talking about allergy, something I think 99.9% of everyone suffers from. Before we bring our guest on, I'm going to give a little bit of update of what is happening in the energy realm. Tomorrow is Thursday. If you're listening on a podcast, well, Thursday's come and gone, but if you're listening live, tomorrow is supposed to be a very big energy shifting day. A lot of things are happening, and of course, within the work that I do, I see the changes, and what I'm seeing a lot of is a lot of demonic component. A lot of the dark energies are up and leaving. Now, this morning, I had the privilege of doing basically like an exorcism on somebody, Bob. There's 3 basic dark entities. There is Lucifer, there is Set, and there is Horus. These are the 3 bad guys that masquerade as Satan and the devil. And I removed these 3 from someone, and it was very much like an exorcism moment. This person had somebody with them, and the person is describing the situation as, oh my God, what do I do? She's on the ground writhing. Assured the person everything is going to be just fine and that the person is in good hands. That told me that there's a lot of releasing of these dark energies, which is plaguing humanity and causing all kinds of problems. A lot of veils, a lot of uplifting of dark energies is happening. Now, if anybody is experiencing what we call the ascension flu, a lot of aches and pains, a lot of dizziness, there's many, many different symptoms.
I'm hearing vertigo.
Vertigo is a big one.
Yeah.
Lots of different things. If you're watching the internet news, planet Nibiru is going to be showing itself. Show me the planet and I'll see it. I know it's there. I know that the energy is there causing some issues. But, the physical planet itself, I don't think everybody's going to wake up and see this huge planet sitting in our sky.
It's funny, though. Canada says it's coming. The United States, though, says it doesn't exist. Yeah, but the United States says it doesn't exist.
Well, I guess we got a little debate on our hands.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, we should put the both of them together and then sit them down at a table, give them some coffee, and say, all right, work it out.
I want to hear Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton go over this one. That's what I want to hear.
Oh, yeah, that would be good. That would be good. I know the answer already, though.
Another update. Here's something, every week I get something new to work with. And I've always been kind of considering the human body as, let's say, a computer program, that type of thing. And I've been disconnecting people from what's called the beast computer. Now, the concept behind this is that every computer on the planet is connected to a supercomputer called the beast computer. In one way, shape, or form, we are connected to this computer being programmed. So I've been disconnecting people from it and getting some results. It's been interesting that way, working in that regard. Let's talk about tonight's guest. We're going to talk about allergies. This is Dr. Michael VanDerschelden. Growing up in Seattle, Dr. Mike was an avid snowboarder and tennis player. In high school, he and his younger brother teamed up in doubles to play top 5 in the state. Dr. Mike graduated with kinesiology and pre-dental degree with the plan of following in his father's footsteps of being a dentist. When he realized dentistry wasn't a profession for him, he moved to Southern California. That is where he discovered the profession of chiropractic and found his calling. Dr. Mike got his Doctor of Chiropractic Degree at Los Angeles College of Chiropractic, having shadowed and being mentored by some of the most respected doctors of his profession while he was in school, Dr. John Bergman being one of them. And he began to realize just how intelligent and amazing the human body was. Dr. Mike has a love for the outdoors, exercising, nutrition, researching, following his Seattle sports teams, and spending time with his friends and family. He enjoys being a mentor to his younger brother, Alex, who was following Dr. Mike's footsteps and going to school to become a chiropractor. He also loves lecturing about important health topics many people are not aware of. Please welcome to A Quantum View, Dr. Michael VanDerschelden. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you so much for having me. Can you guys hear me okay?
5 by 5, my friend.
Absolutely.
5 by 5. I like it. Well, I'm honored to be here with you guys and just give you a little bit of information on allergies. And like you said, it's kind of a big topic affecting over 99.9%, as you would say.
As I said, now, here's a concept. I remember back when I was going to school, nobody had a peanut allergy. Nobody had to carry a puffer. Some kids nowadays, if they eat a peanut, they could die. They go into anaphylactic shock. And my wife, if she ate a cashew, well, to the emergency room we go. Can you give us some kind of history of allergies, all these different allergies that everybody is going through?
Yeah, I mean, Chris, you're exactly right. Peanuts went from a snack staple, everyone eating PB&J all day, every day at schools, to now actually being banned in a lot of schools. At least that's how it is in the United States. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, this peanut, and what is really going on? And just like with the, really any other health topic, there's not like a single solution to why that is. There is a lot of different ways, and it comes down to a lot of our health and how that's declining over the years, as well as just kind of the things going on in the industry, the food supply, the GMO, genetically modified foods, all these herbicides, pesticides, a lot of this contributes to that. But I mean, the history is just astounding. And I mean, do you want me to talk about the history now about dairy and peanuts, or do you want to go back into really what an allergy is?
Let's talk about what an allergy is so people can understand exactly where we're going with this.
Yeah. Allergies, basically, affecting 25 million people, at least in the United States, is your body's abnormal response to a normal stimulus. So if it's your body's abnormal response, it's due to your overactive or a hyperactive immune system. And, does everyone who encounters, pet, pollen, windy weather, do they all get allergies? The answer is no. So the person really is not the deciding factor. It's not, or the person is the deciding factor for that matter. It's not the allergen itself. And so what happens is that when we come in contact with an allergen, whether it's just some type of particle our body is viewing as foreign, we start to release these substances in our body called IgEs, immunoglobulin E's. And then that basically what that does is that activates these mast cells, which triggers a whole huge release of this cascade cocktail of histamines, leukotrienes, prostaglandins, and that just initiates a huge cascade of symptoms. And we're all familiar with the sneezing, the runny nose, the phlegm, the itchy skin, the eyes. So when you're looking about the cause of allergies, we got to go after the cause, and that's the body's viewing this allergen as foreign and eliciting this unwanted or pathological response of, the symptoms of allergies. So it's the overactive immune system that is the problem in all this.
That begs the question, what is making the immune system overactive? Is there any study been done on that, any research?
There actually has. And let's just take a time period, for example. From 1997 to 2002, in that little 4 to 5 year period, peanut allergies actually doubled. In fact, food allergies, just for hospitalizations for food allergies alone, increased by 265% in that 5 year period. And so you're thinking 97 to 2002, like what the heck happened during that time period? And, if an allergy is our body detecting something as foreign, we got to ask the question, is there something crazy foreign going on in our food supply that's changed in that 5 year period where allergies just doubled and hospitalizations increased like crazy? And the answer is absolutely yes. Not only is that the processed food revolution where we're introducing these food colorings, chemicals, preservatives, artificial flavors, all these other additives to our food supply, which is bad enough. Our body's never seen this stuff before. But what the biggest thing, guys, is there was this new food protein that was engineered in the mid-1990s, right during the spike of peanut allergies, and it was introduced to our food supply. And that's really the height of everything, because what's scary is there was no human trials ever done on these new food proteins that were engineered. So basically the whole goal was to maximize profits at the expense of human health. And so they introduced these new food proteins. And in fact, dairy was actually the first food to undergo this change.
A synthetic protein, is it something that they take maybe 2 or 3 proteins, blend them together, and create a monster protein?
Well, you're getting like this genetically modified soy, which is causing a lot of problems, but also, too, milk undergoing this first change. And their change kind of went with the recombinant bovine growth hormone. Mm-hmm. We call it RBGH. You're going to see that on a lot of labels saying, oh, this meat does not have this, even though it's bogus many times. But recombinant bovine growth hormone actually allows cows to stimulate massive milk production. And so that's obviously good for a dairy farmer. You're increasing massive products. But what they found is that this recombinant bovine growth hormone massively increased disease rates as well. So they ran into a little problem. They got a ton of product, but it was all diseased. So maybe a logical person would say, well, maybe we should take this recombinant bovine growth hormone off the market, but obviously we're all about profits here. So what they did was they actually started giving them the growth hormone plus low dose antibiotics throughout their entire life to counteract those increasing disease rates. And that's really what kind of started this whole thing.
These are all things that our bodies are not designed to process, or our bodies doesn't know what to do with it. And they just end up getting stored. Or the antibiotics are in everything. You buy meat off the shelf. You buy milk that's going to have antibiotic. You get sick, you go get antibiotics. Our bodies are full of these antibiotics, which I think can be a contributor. As what I find is if our bodies have an abundance of something that's being stored and you introduce a little bit more of it, you have a bad reaction. Would you say that's true?
Absolutely. I mean, like we talked about, besides the peanuts and the dairy, which have gone through a lot of these, chemical alterations, I mean, really, when an allergy is that abnormal response, it's the immune system's, faulty exposure, you got to figure 80% of your immune system is in your gut, is in your microbiome. That's 80% of your immune system. And so what you do is you actually have a 10-to-1 ratio of bacteria in your gut to cells in the body. So you have 100 trillion cells. We have 1 billion. We have trillions and trillions of bacteria in our gut. When you're exposed to low-dose antibiotics from your food supply, you're destroying your gut. You're destroying your immune system.
That's right.
Exactly.
You're trying to do something good for your body, but you're actually creating a harmful environment where your body's ability to defend itself is now basically taken away. It's true, but honestly, when you're coming down with these allergies, these other substances, this pollen, certain types of weather exacerbate them in many cases. You got to look at the solutions, and the solutions is when you're seeing people struggling with these allergies, it's guaranteed that their gut is not functioning optimally. And a lot of times when you do interventions that literally work to increase the health of your gut, you're going to notice that these allergies go away. But the factors, personal hygiene, all sorts of stuff that we've been exposed through contribute to this now. And like, for example, the last thing parents want their kids to do now is play in the dirt. It's scary, but that was just something I used to do just normally. But now it's like when you get out in the dirt or you take off your gloves and you go gardening and stuff and you're doing all this stuff, you're basically exposing yourself to these dirt and germs that help you build up this natural resistance to disease. But the problem is we're given antibiotics at such a young age many times for any type of infection, ear infection, destroys your gut flora. And a lot of research now are actually showing that not only is it can actually come to like permanent consequences of giving antibiotics at such a young age. And that's just what we've been exposed to forever. And it's devastating. Concept of personal hygiene and allergies. Oh, yeah. Well, the big ones here are going to be your fluoridated and chlorinated water. Now, fluoride and chlorine both not only destroy, bad bacteria, but it destroys beneficial bacteria. So whether you're drinking tap water, anything like that, or showering with unfiltered water, remember, many people are putting on all these different ointments and stuff on their skin. The general rule is if you can't eat it, you do not put it on your skin because it gets absorbed absolutely to your bloodstream. And so when you're constantly showering in this chlorinated water, you're destroying not only the beneficial bacteria on your skin, but also too in your gut as well. And then the rise of antibacterial soaps, people putting on all of that antibacterial creams, to sterilize their finger. That's like you're destroying everything, and we need that, those millions different species of bacteria to be healthy. And it's just they all work symbiotically, for health, but we're just destroying that. Let's say somebody who's critical about their personal hygiene and always using antibacterial soaps to wash their hands and using the antibacterial gels and then to keep themselves clean. They're actually hurting themselves, correct? Oh, they are. And a lot of those people too have dry skin. They're, you look at them, they don't necessarily have the nicest skin when you see them. At least that's the case for me. When I see the people who are just so anal about these germs, it's like, dude, wake up. Look at your skin. It's dry, flaking. You're taking off everything, and like one of the best things you can do is just use coconut oil. Coconut oil provides that nice moisturized barrier to your skin. You can consume it. It's very healthy for you. It's got very beneficial fats, but that's one of the alternatives. But there's other organic, products out there for skin care, hair care, really toothpaste, anything like that. But we just got to be avoided these chemicals. And, these are kind of just like antibiotics. They destroy your bacteria. We got to stay away from that stuff. Chemicals. You cannot get out of bed without getting some kind of chemical in your body nowadays. It's that is the epidemic. Well, I'll tell you one thing. The U.S. is probably the worst, to be quite honest. Let's just I just want to scale back to dairy real quick. When you're just talking about that bovine growth hormone that was completely artificial, made in these labs our body's never seen, countries all over the world have banned that. You're lucky Canada banned it.
So you no longer have that. 27 countries in Europe banned it. The UK, Australia, New Zealand, everyone's banning this substance because there's no human trials proving its safety, you know, where we take the opposite stance. So, I mean, we're just sick, snotty, everything. And it's also important, too, that you distinguish your conventional dairy with raw dairy. Because when I'm talking about all this dairy stuff, it's conventional dairy. It's like that 99% of real bad dairy, where raw dairy is actually proven very beneficial for you. So people on farms who are exposed to dirt, who have raw milk are actually very healthy, have 50% less allergies, 50% less hay fever. You know, they're getting all that healthy, non-denatured whey proteins from the milk that actually help your immune system. So raw milk, just make that important statement there. It's completely different than your conventional dairy. With anything, you want to make sure that the handling of this dairy is, they're using clean tools, sterile tools, and stuff like that. And they're doing it in a humane way, you know, and keeping up with the quality control issue. So that's, you know, that's a given. But definitely organic is by far the better option than on the opposite spectrum of getting this glyphosate that causes cancer, anything, those residues in your food. It's a lot better option. But I mean, obviously some organic producers, they can be dirty as well.
Now what? Yeah, you mentioned that, you know, Europe has banned all of these things. Canada has banned a lot of these things. What is up with the United States?
I mean, it's true, but I mean, I feel like any president we have, it seems like there's a puppet for the lobbyist groups, the pharmaceutical industries. You know, the pharmaceutical industries own everything in the United States. And I mean, when you just look at the U.S. alone, we consume more pharmaceutical drugs than the next 6 countries combined. Now, if these damn things worked so well, you would think that we would be one of the healthiest nations. But in fact, it's actually the opposite. We're actually ranked nearly dead last among all developed nations in health. And I mean, we're near the very bottom of the spectrum in infant mortality rate. I mean, it's just awful to see. And consuming 6 times the amount of drugs in the next 6 countries. I mean, it's like, get a clue. If more drugs are equaling less health, then why do we keep doing more and more pharmaceutical drugs? But that goes the same thing with the hormones, everything else that you've been talking about.
Per capita, the United States is much higher with allergies than anywhere else, correct?
Yes.
Is killing off the microbiome, and the microbiome is all of the good bacteria that help to digest food, help to remove contaminants and that type of thing. So what is it that you would suggest if people all of a sudden wanted to change their life and get healthy again?
One thing, we got to look at the diet. So when you're consuming meats, for instance, it's got to be healthy, you know, preferably grass-fed, organic. So we're avoiding those, any antibiotic, any growth hormone residues. You're adding a lot of probiotics to the body. And that's going to be in the form of kombucha, a type of like fermented tea, fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, kimchi, all that stuff. Even probiotic supplements are good to some extent, but I mean, it's way better than nothing. All of that's going to feed your beneficial bacteria and make you, you know, very, very healthy. And then especially when people are growing up, you know, sometimes these infections, sometimes these things happen, but if you absolutely have to be on an antibiotic, you got to coincide that with a probiotic supplement or that kombucha, anything like that. Like I was talking about, bone broth, all of that stuff really helps to make your gut stronger, add that better diversity of bacteria. But it's also, too, it's getting more sunlight. Sunlight has a direct effect on your bacterial microbiome. You know, you're looking at omega-3s. That's anti-inflammatory. We're deficient in those now because conventional meats are completely devoid of all of that stuff. Our fish are becoming more toxic. So taking an omega-3 supplement, vitamin D3 if you're not getting the sun exposure, we got to be all on those. And then antibiotics get a lot of bad rap, but it's also, too, it's your stomach acid drugs. You know, your proton pump inhibitors, like your the Nexium, the purple pill, all that stuff. That blocks your stomach acid, so you're not able to digest food properly, which actually destroys your microflora. I mean, it seems obvious when you think about it, but people don't know that, and they're just taking these every day. And then you're looking at NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Those damage all your cell membranes, like your Advils, your ibuprofens. They damage your cell membranes. They cause dysfunctional mitochondria, your powerhouse of the cell, destroys your gut. So it's really just coming down, you know, we think want to go in the lab and make all these new discoveries. It's like we have everything we need on this earth, and we just take that for granted.
Now, is there any other types of publications? Is there any information on your website, by the way?
We're building that up right now, so it's temporarily down. But I mean, you can go to anywhere from Dr. Mercola to really Natural News. There's all sorts of good sites that you can get out there and really read the powerful benefits of having a healthy microbiome. And like you said, people don't like to make drastic measures at one time. But I mean, if they just added that single probiotic a day, that would actually take them, very far up there and get them very healthy from that, and if they could do that, which is very easy, even if they just wanted to take a probiotic pill, that would be just something just super easy to do. Although it's not going to change everything, it will help, but at the end of the day, we get sick from two ways: toxic with something we don't need, or we're deficient in something we do need. And we happen to be deficient in a lot of healthy bacteria, and we're toxic with a lot of this chemical exposure. So you really got to address both of those at the end of the day to get healthy and to kind of avoid these for permanently.
What about the enzymes within food? On a daily basis, everybody's cooking their food and cooking out enzymes that are critical for the microbiome?
Absolutely. I mean, living green food, even raw dairy, is living enzymes in those substances. And, when you're talking about cooking it, destroys the enzymes. If you're juicing vegetables, a high-powered juicer that gets too hot, it destroys the vegetables. Sometimes blending to an extent, using a Vitamix too long, can destroy enzymes. But also, too, conventional dairy, the pasteurization process destroys every single enzyme. All your life, minerals, enzymes, completely denatures everything. So the dairy is just such a big deal. It's hard to just diminish that aspect of it. I mean, a cow is meant to eat grass. They have, 6-chambered stomachs to ferment grass. But what happens is that they don't make the cows fat enough for farmers. So now they give them these genetically modified grains, which makes them fat really, really fast. However, they get these tumors, these liver tumors. 90% of them within a couple of weeks on this diet get these tumors. They literally have to insert tubes in their stomachs to release all their flatulence and gas. And then they get fat so fast that they actually can't even stand anymore. And I mean, it's just so sad if you actually look at what's going on there. There's a known rule that a cow has to be ambulatory to be able to slaughter it. They have to be able to stand. And so since they're all like laying down, passed out because they're just too big and they're too unhealthy, they literally take forklifts, lift them up temporarily so they can just stand for just a second, and then they slaughter them. So then then they pasteurize the crap out of this stuff. And so you're taking out all the enzymes, everything that was once beneficial with anything. Raw milk has calcium because cows are supposed to eat grass. The calcium comes from the grass. So when they're drinking, or when they're consuming genetically modified grain, this white substance they made, completely devoid of everything, has no calcium. So then they add calcium in supplement form, which is not bioavailable to the body, and then they tell everyone to drink their milk for healthy bones.
The amount of calcium buildup that I find within veins and arteries, within the heart, within the brain, the supplementation, as you said, they're not bioavailable. Your body's not going to digest them and absorb them properly. Instead of testing your calcium, you just assume it. So you start taking calcium supplements, and this builds up, and all of a sudden you've got heart problems. All of a sudden, you've got blockages in your veins and arteries. All of a sudden, that you got migraines because you got calcium building up in your brain. A big thing that I find. So if they're supplementing the milk with calcium and it's not absorbable into your body, it's going to build up and then cause more problems.
You absolutely got it. I mean, we don't have a calcium deficiency in this world, even though the dairy lobbyists will like to promote that idea. But I mean, honestly, if they would just tell us the truth, and that is green leafy vegetables have the most calcium out of any food, just consume that and you're going to be fine. Popeye had it right the entire time, but we're going after these got milk ads and, those are catchy, and even when I was young, it's like parents, drink your milk, and, and I'm sure it was just the crappy milk, but parents literally think they're doing right by feeding their kids this crappy milk, and it's destroying their health. It really is.
We got a question from Hawaii. How can you figure out what does not have peanut something in it if you're allergic to peanuts?
Well, if you're allergic to peanuts, you probably have known that if you look at any food that you're purchasing, it'll have a label on there saying this is produced in factories, handling soy, peanuts. They all say that now legally. Or they'll say this product, contains traces of peanuts. If you go right by the nutrition label, it will tell you if it was produced in a factory with all that kind of stuff or not. So that's one of the easiest ways to do. I mean, that's how it is in the United States. So obviously Hawaii, it should be like the same exact thing.
My wife and I, we made a curry dish one night, and we always use a package, but this time she used a jar, and it contained cashew flour, and boom, we're in the hospital. Within 10 minutes, she's getting gut pain, and she says, "Oh my God, what's in there?" And she read the label, and she says, "Call an ambulance now." And I gave her the EpiPen, and we went rushing in. Now, EpiPens, can you buy an EpiPen over the counter?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, any pharmacy, you can have those EpiPens. Those can be very beneficial. I mean, personally, I am allergic to bees. So I need one of those. I am allergic to bees. So EpiPens can be very beneficial for those cases where, I mean, I'm swelling up like crazy. You got to get that EpiPen in you instantly. So there's certain things like that where we're kind of just genetically exposed to. But, those are like those are the underwhelming. Those are a very small percentage of all allergies out there, but absolutely carry an EpiPen if you have a major allergy for sure.
If all of a sudden you find you're having an allergic reaction, Benadryl works pretty good in a pinch to get you through it. I mean, I don't recommend doing these types of things, but if all of a sudden you find yourself with your tongue swelling and you're going into allergic shock or something, you got to do something to get through it. That's what they give you in the hospital, right?
Oh, no doubt. And I mean, our emergency care is completely different. I'm a big fan of our emergency care system. If our life's on the line, get this, get the help you need, get the medication, but we're just talking, just to maintain health, they're not you don't want to take in Benadryl every day to maintain health, but obviously you're going to go through certain things happen. It is life at the end of the day. And, so yeah, you definitely want to be prepared for that. Benadryl, if you're having a major allergic reaction, any type of antihistamine, because it's that histamine that's making those blood vessels more permeable, basically hypersecretion of mucus. You're getting the hives. All that is from that huge increase in the histamine from the allergic reaction, and you definitely want to find some type of antihistamine if you're something's major happening, along with the EpiPen.
This morning, I worked with somebody who has 2 grandkids who are very allergic to peanut, and a lot of the component is a dark energy type of witchcraft, which means that this energy has been placed upon the kid that if they eat peanuts, that if they do this or that, they will get sick. The whole question of how come some people are allergic and some people aren't, and we're all basically eating and drinking the same thing and getting the same chemicals and the same types of pathogens within us, but why are some people allergic and some people aren't? And that comes down to a negative energy, a negative component, something that is causing the reaction to happen. Yeah,
I think some people, you can call it energy. I may in my work call it your immune system. Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah, exactly. Their immune system, we were developed with this system called the immune system to fight off these things, to keep us healthy. And so really optimizing that is the best way. And similar to what you do, I do chiropractic. So we find that specific chiropractic adjustments in areas actually influence your nervous system. And since your immune response is a complex interaction between your immune system and the nervous system, by optimizing your nervous system functioning, your brain, spinal cord, and your nerves, you're massively decreasing the chances of allergies, but also just making you healthy. And to have balance in your life. And sympathetic dominant state, what 99.9% of people are in, that's basically in that chronic stressed out fight or flight state, immunosuppressive condition. Being that constant stressed out state, from just daily life, our immune system is incredibly down-regulated from that. And so what happens is you got to restore balance to that nervous system. So there's that sympathetic fight or flight stressed out state, and there's that parasympathetic, that rest and digest state. You got to provide balance. You want a 50-50 and not like a 99-1%. You got to have that balance there, because when you're in that parasympathetic state, That's when your body is resting, digesting, healing. And that's really what it comes down to, because what happens when we're in that sympathetic dominant state? We're taking all our blood supply away from our organs, and it's going to our extremities basically for survival adaptations. And so basically our body is basically, and our immune system is down-regulated at the expense of just survival.
Yeah, the sympathetic nervous system is a very critical area. Anybody who experiences anxiety, and lots of people do, whenever somebody calls me with anxiety, the first place I go is the sympathetic nervous system and shut it off, clear it out of negative energies. All of a sudden, the person feels a lot calmer. The sympathetic nervous system can be a detriment when it's fired up. Anxiety, the whole concept of your body not doing what it's supposed to do to heal itself and be able to process. And if you're always in fight or flight, then you're always going to be sick. You're always going to be in a low level of energy. Exactly.
And one of the big things is that we have tons of, muscles and joints in our body. What people don't realize is that exercise is such a crucial factor. When you're not moving every single one of those synovial joints in your body, you start to get scar tissue built up around those joints, inflammation, and then you send these stressful signals to the brain that actually initiates the sympathetic stress response in the body. And that's why when we actually exercise or work out or anything, our brain feels a lot more active, a lot more clear. But that's also why, too, when you're not moving at all throughout the day, even though you are conserving all of your energy, you feel sluggish. You would think you'd, have this more energy, but you feel sluggish because you're not feeding that brain those positive sensory input from all that movement. And instead, you're building up that scar tissue and sending stressful signals. And that's what's so cool about chiropractic and the work I do, is that we're creating positive movement into those joints that are stuck, sending nice sensory input to the brain. It actually stimulates brain function. It's actually been shown to increase your immune cells and also increase size of your brain in areas called the hippocampus, which has to do with learning, memory, concentration, spatial recognition. And so when you're changing brain function, since the brain controls the entire body, you're changing physiology. You're balancing out that nervous system. And you really see some huge results that way. But movement is huge. Absolutely.
And the hippocampus in Greek means seahorse, which is the seat of the soul, where I come from. Let's get back to an easy way to create a better environment for your body to be able to handle any kind of allergies. Number one, the best way is most likely taking some kind of a probiotic. What type of foods contain high levels of probiotics?
Yeah, that's your kombucha, your fermented tea. You can, kefir, which is like a high probiotic yogurt that's healthy. You're looking at probably one of the best things you can do is things like sauerkraut and kimchi, any fermented vegetables. And also what's cool is that you can easily make your own. That is fantastic. Literally one scoop of fermented vegetables has more probiotics than literally a whole pill bottle full of probiotics combined. So you're really going to get the best stuff from fermented healthy foods, healthy fruits and vegetables.
And that's not a whole lot of sauerkraut on a big fat smoky dog either.
Exactly right. But just make sure that sausage is healthy.
Well, there's no such thing as an unhealthy sausage now, is there?
Well, you can get grass-fed organic and, not going to be the best, but that'd be by far better than the conventional crap out there.
Now, if anybody has never tried organic chicken, I turned my wife onto it. There's a place that sells 100% organic meats, and they carried everything from chicken, elk, rabbit, bison, you name it, beef, pork. It was all organic. Bought some chicken, some big fat chicken legs, put them on the barbecue, cooked them up. And she took one bite and she says, "Oh my God, this is what chicken used to taste like when I was a kid." That comment itself told me that the way chicken is now, the way meats are done now, it certainly is a lot different the way that it used to be. I'm willing to bet that 30 years ago when she was a kid, remember eating chicken, it wasn't full of antibiotics. It wasn't full of hydrogen. It wasn't full of crap to make it the size it is and make it grow as fast as it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's just called normal growth. We're so used to now we always want the easy way out. We want everything at convenience. We want to fatten up those animals super fast. But just let things go naturally. organically. And yeah, organic chicken is fantastic for you, you know, and a much, much better option than your conventional antibiotic-laced, growth hormone-laced chicken, for sure.
People are catching on to the whole energy concept of things, combining the two together, taking nutrition, taking whole foods, okay, learning about superfoods, learning about yam and sweet potato and avocado, and realizing, hey, you know what? It really isn't that difficult to get these into my diet. You mentioned coconut oil. Put it on some toast and eat it. Your body's going to get those good fats it needs to help process sugars, to help your body function properly and give it the right fats for your brain to develop properly, make you more focused and help in all those areas. In reality, it isn't that difficult. I think it's more so a daunting task to take your normal everyday diet. Every day you go to the store and you buy the same thing over and over again. You buy these boxes of Scheiße, for the people in Germany listening. You cook it up and you eat it. You do that every day. I think what it's going to take is a little bit of a quantum leap, because so many people are just tied to their medical doctor thinking, well, if I don't take these, he's going to shake his finger at me and call me a bad boy.
Exactly. And the cool thing about all of this is that it's literally common sense. And so people just aren't exposed to this information very much. But when they hear it, I mean, it clicks in their brain. This stuff is not hard to understand. You know, if you ask someone, do sick people or healthy people need drugs? They're going to say sick people. And I want to say that's exactly right. And I'll say, well, what happens if a healthy person takes drugs? You know, well, they get sick. And that's exactly right. So why would you depend on these drugs to get you healthy? I mean, it's like, people will understand this stuff. They just, you know, it's almost like this like brainwashing thing, like that they're just being exposed to. But once you just expose them to the truth, they're just like light bulbs shine and everything clicks.
Why are we making our citizens of this wonderful country, of this wonderful continent, why are we making people sick? This has been a wonderful, wonderful edition of A Quantum View. Our guest has been Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike, thank you so much for being on. I certainly learned something tonight. This is Chris Kehler out.